What's up guys, welcome to Monchkinz Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Monchkinz logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another video guide. In today's video we are going to check out Aranea's Lost Chapter Lufenia Plus fight. So before we do start, like always, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help this channel guys. We're nearly at that 3,000 subscribers, so let's hit that by the end of the year. And without further ado, let's start this video. Alright guys, so let's start this off and how you're gonna deal with the Lufenia orb, which appears at the start of the battle and will disappear when you hit less than 80% and will reappear once again when you hit less than 50% of the boss's HP. You get only one Lufenia orb counter when the boss takes a critical brave damage, and you also get one more if the target takes any physical range, I should say, brave damage. So just bring any range brave character and you should be fine in meeting that Lufenia orb. Now granted, you probably will have to bring something along the lines like Trey, Aranea, or Prompto, who can kind of carry you through these Lufenia orb mechanics, because they do pretty much have extra turns most of the time, and this will increase your Lufenia orb counter by default. Alright guys, now let's move on to how this fight works. Now, there's a lot to go through in this fight. There's a lot of mechanics that you probably don't really need to know, but if you do want to know, stay tuned, because there's a lot we're going to be going through, and hopefully I can explain it to you guys a little bit easier. So first off, the first big mechanic here is if you do not let the boss at least have one turn, or at least use their phalanx ability at least once before they hit less than 80% of their HP, the boss will basically gain a massive HP reduction totaling to 200%, and they will also have immunity to delay. So basically you're not gonna hit them for much. Regardless of how much you can do, it is going to be reduced by so much. Now the bosses will also increase their defense after your first turn, and when their HP reaches below 80 and 50%. Now when the boss is less than 80%, both bosses basically will use an ability, or I suppose I should just say ability, called Energy Charge. Now Energy Charge basically will increase their brave, and they will have some brave damage reduction as well. Now they will use the plus variant of an HP attack, like a brave plus HP attack, that ignores any brave and HP mitigation if they don't get broken, and they will use the plus variant if you still do not break them on their next turn. Now basically the plus variant will have a dispel attached to it, basically dispelling all your buffs plus all the other effects of the plus variant. Now the boss does have three types of auras, which are white, yellow, and red. Basically, depending on what aura, they do have increased stats and more brave damage reduction. Now these auras are basically attached to the ability called Phalanx. Now there are three types of Phalanx. There's the Phalanx normal one, the plus variant, and the plus variant. Basically, each Phalanx will increase the shield a level by 1. So for example, if they're already in yellow aura or in white aura, basically if they use Phalanx, the normal one, they will increase by 1 level, which will go to yellow aura. And then if they are using the plus variant while they're in white aura, they immediately go to the red aura, so it increases by 2 levels. So think of the auras as like shield levels, and basically it will define what auras the boss will have. Now the next thing that you will need to know is they will use a shield attack when they are in the red aura. It's very similar to laser shield, but this time it will have a 10% splash damage attached to it. So it still has all the different things that you take from, you know, taking Laser Shield Plus, and just with an extra 10% splash damage. Also, they will trigger energy charge again if you hit less than 50%, and if they use a Laser Shield Plus previously. So this is going to be another mechanic on top of everything else if you end up, or if they end up using Laser Shield before you reach less than 50% of their HP. Okay, so now that we know all the mechanics in this fight, how are you going to deal with this fight? Well, my biggest thing here is to just let the boss have their one turn, and then just don't let them have a turn anymore. That's it. They get one turn, they get the one phalanx, and then you break them with your instant break characters, because that's how you're gonna lower their shield level, or lower their shield aura, and basically just go crazy. Like turn shenanigans, Aphmau, Sid Reigns, Tidus, you name it. Just don't let them have a turn. That's the best way to deal with this, because you do not want to deal with any other mechanic that this boss has. And let me tell you that this boss's mechanics are crazy if you want to do it the quote-unquote proper way. Now, Setzer is still a very good, valuable character to bring with his freeze. You know, they'll basically not gain any brave. You have the rainbow damage buff with him, so you know, those are very, very good abilities to bring along in this fight. Once again, instant break characters or gravity based characters will help you solve the issue when it comes to energy charge. And not only that, but with the phalanx, you know, increasing the shield value as well, you can break them, and I do believe it lowers their shield value. So that is the best way you're gonna deal with this fight. Alright guys, now let's talk about characters to bring. Again, the list just keeps going on and on and on, but essentially the biggest thing here is to bring instant break characters, and of course physical range characters as well, because you're gonna have to deal with the Lufenia orb. Like I said, Trey is probably one of the best ones. Aranea and Prompto are like one of the best ones to bring. You can still bring, of course, the others, but the main thing with Lufenia Plus is party compositions. If you're gonna bring a certain character, you have to make sure you can still deal with the mechanic. So a lot of these characters can in some shape, way, or form help you. So that's all I really have to say when it comes to characters to bring. Now, as for call characters, Jack is probably one of the best ones here, since he does have that instant break mechanic with his LD. And if you're not planning to bring like an instant break character in your main party, Jack is a good option. And of course, Bartz is another one of those options as well. There's really no limitations when it comes to your call characters in this one. I would suggest bring a lot of debuffers to decrease the amount of defense that the boss have, so you can at least deal a somewhat decent damage. Kurosama is still a pretty good one to bring along, and of course Gabranth as well, with their increase of HP damage that you can do. Alright guys, now let's talk about some party compositions. Of course, the first one that I would recommend is the video that you guys are seeing, which is Bartz, Tidus, and Core. This obviously takes advantage of Tidus' turn shenanigans and Core's off-turn damage as well, increasing the amount of Lufenia orb counters with all the critical hits that you can do while they're broken. And of course, you know, Tidus has a range attack thanks to his rework. You know, at the end of every one of his attack, basically he does a range attack that increases the Lufenia orb counter, so you don't have to worry about the Lufenia orb counter. Of course, for the Cole team, I just went with anything that can increase my overall damage, and the support, I kind of ended up using Ishtola at the end, but I could probably have extended a lot of my turns with Tidus and probably didn't really need it. I ended up just wanting to use it in the end. Why not? And of course, Ramuh for the summon. Now the next team I have for you guys is actually the team that I went with on my JP account. It's Setzer, Vaughn, and Prompto. Prompto basically for the Lufenia orb basically, and Vaughn and Setzer are still very good characters. Even with all those mechanics that I mentioned, I kind of just bulldoze my way out of those you know, mechanics, and it's still kind of cheesable with this team. So the call team I went with was Kurosami, Jack, and Iroha. Support as another Setzer, and Ramu for the summon. And I do believe I actually tweeted out this team, although I didn't say what my support was, but it's out there. Now the last team I have for you guys is Sid Reigns, Aphmau, and Setzer. Of course, this is taking advantage of the turn shenanigans between Sid Reigns and Aphmau. Call team Kurosami, Jack, and Bart summon support another Sid Reigns for more turn shenanigans, and summon I went with Pandemonium. Now Setzer can be replaced here if you want to use Bart as in your main team for that burst effect. You can still do it. You know, there's nothing really stopping you from doing that, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Alright guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts regarding this fight. Now, like I said earlier, this fight has a lot of mechanics, and I think really the best way to deal with the mechanics is to not deal with them at all. Just let them have their little turn and use their phalanx. I believe the A boss will always use phalanx on their first turn, so basically you're cleared to go once that boss actually uses its ability. So that way, you just turn shenanigans your way and you should be fine. Now, if you're planning to bulldoze this, I mean, it's a little bit of a headache, and I'm telling you from experience, who's someone who kind of bulldozed my way here on the JP because I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, it can be a struggle, but it is possible, right? Having two Setzers as in your main team, plus in your support as well, might help you out there more. Maybe, you know, the extra Sid Reigns as well, if you really want more turn shenanigans, is definitely going to help you in this fight. Now, overall, I would say the fight itself wasn't too much trouble if you are planning to not do the mechanics that I painstakingly written up for you in this video. But overall, yeah, I would say it's actually a pretty difficult boss if you are planning to do this quote-unquote the right way, because let's be honest, there's really no right way to, you know, if you can go around mechanics, like, you know, that's not the player's fault, that's the dev's fault, I think. But anyway, that's just my opinion, and I think I'll end the video right here, guys. So please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help the channel, and I would really appreciate it if you can share this video as well to other Dffoo players who are struggling to beat their first Lufenia or Lufenia Plus fight. And hopefully this video can help them, and you can go check out my other video guides as well. And I do apologize that this video is a tiny bit late, but like I said, it's kind of hard to juggle work life with doing this as well on the side. But the next 2 weeks should be okay. There shouldn't be any issues in the next 2 weeks when it comes to getting the videos as quick as I can. But yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. And once again, leave down in the comments below what your team was, and if you think I missed something, please leave them down in the comments below. It does help the community out if you point out some more stuff that I missed out, or if I said something wrong. All we're trying to do here is to help the community. And you can always follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Monchkinz Gaming. This is Monchkinz logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.